Hello and welcome to Safari Catch Up. This is a daily wrap of the best wildlife sightings from the past 24 hours.
So, on our search for the three amigo cheetah boys, we come across a decent-sized journey of giraffe, just feeding on probably their favorite leaves, that of the Vachelia karoo, the common sweet thorn. See some of those yellow flowers just coming through there as well. The Camelopardus giraffa, or the southern giraffe. Beautiful markings on this one, and it's starting to get a little bit dark there. We had a bit of rain earlier. It's also starting to drizzle now. So it always obviously makes the animals wet, and it does clear off a lot of the dust, and it does make their coats look lovely as well.
Wow. We found our first subject, and it is a stork, a form of stork. We get them quite often in this particular area of South Africa, and this is what we call the African woolly-necked stork, given its name by the rather woolly-looking neck. Almost look like their neck is being covered in some wool. Now, the woolly-necked stork is something we tend to find, their distribution-wise is from, we'd say, maybe the Isimangalisi, so northeastern KwaZulu-Natal, all the way up along the border between South Africa and Mozambique, and then also a little bit of South Africa, Botswana, South Africa, Zambia, sort of those areas. Not South Africa, Zambia, South Africa, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. However, you will also find them around the Zambezi area, northern Botswana. You find them usually around water, as their diet mainly consists of fish, a couple of aquatic organisms like crabs and mollusks. If they can catch themselves a little lizard, they will. If they can find themselves a small snake that isn't going to put up too much of a fight, then they'll also feed on the little snake. Now, we usually see them in these little groups. Unfortunately, there is only one here. It's possible there could have been another one.
Jambo, good morning and welcome to this part of the Mara and Kewa area. Look at what we're having here. Beautiful sabadals from the Black Rock Pride. It's a beautiful warm morning, as we can see the sun is shining here. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James, and very good weather today. Seems like it's gonna be a hot day. So yesterday we were following these lions, and it looks like the one that is licking himself there got some spots of blood. So they were pursuing some buffaloes. So the lionesses from this pride were actually pursuing the buffaloes. There was a big herd of buffaloes around here, and they were all walking towards them. I am not sure yet if they managed to take down, but looks like with a spot of blood, looks like the rest of the adults are having a feast. Big pride like what we have here, the Black Rock Pride, can be able to take down that calf. See the calf walking towards the lion there? That is an easy go for a big pride of lions. So always at times when we come across lions in a pride and there's elephants, we see them being chased away because they know once that this can be able to take us down. So it is just a matter of making sure they're out of danger, keeping them away for safety reasons. Look at that. So these sabadals are very curious, but they know that these elephants is no match to them, and they're very, very careful because they know the mother can be able to chase them away.
We have caught up with the boys from last night, and we are back to the crime scene. So this particular buffalo was brought down yesterday early morning, and we got all the lions we had yesterday, all the 3 Topi boys and 2 of the marsh girls. Apparently, this is one boy loved by very many viewers, and this is Zuri. Zuri did the final blow to this buffalo yesterday morning, as he did what sometimes we'll say strangulation and suffocation, and he stuck on the nose of this, what used to be a buffalo, and denied him oxygen for like 15 minutes. In the background, you can see scavengers have started to arrive. And they may not come down until maybe half of the day. Nancy F, Jambo from us here, and wonderful to have you. Thank you for joining. And so in the background there, the vultures have started to land. By the time we left here last night, there's only one single vulture. Remember, we had one hooded vulture, and I've been finding out the hooded vultures and the short-tailed eagles, what sometimes we've been calling the butlers, will be the first ones to arrive at any crime scene. Possibly a combination of the rupals, African white-backed vultures. Top right is a hooded vulture, definitely a little smallish in size.
So here we have toppies and their calves. So we have 2 sets of litter here. We have some that are a little bit older, about a month old, and some like about 2 weeks old. So toppies here in the Mara will give birth around between October to December, and just after the short rains begin. So rain has delayed a little bit, but soon after the rains, this calf will be in a better position. So the grass here is very rich, and you can see how there's a mixed association between zebras. We have Grant's gazelle, so very, very nice. So the mixed association here is because zebras will cut the tall grass, and then the toppies come for the short grass. So they prefer that kind of grass, because then there's safety in numbers, because they can watch over a 360-degree angle.
Olive, I would highly doubt if vultures would feed on a wound of a living animal. I mean, what we have seen, Olive, we have seen certain birds like oxpeckers taking advantage of wounded animals, and I'm talking about either hippos, for example. If they see them bleeding, we have seen them opening the same wounds and trying to suck blood. But vultures, I would highly doubt they would get anywhere close to a living animal that is wounded, even if they see the wound is open. I would highly doubt. But again, we sometimes say you never say never. And I was looking at these vultures earlier, and I think we had a viewer who was asking, how they treat their how they feed their chicks from when they're young. I mean, of course, we know the chicks will not be able to suck, but they will need to start eating meat from birth. But when the vultures go out, on carcasses like what we have here, they'll always eat as much as they can, and then they'll always go and regurgitate the carrion to their chicks, because from day one, the chicks will need to feed, and they can only feed what the mothers bring them. So the vultures will take as much food as they can to their crop, back to the nests where the chicks are, and regurgitate what is like a semi-chewed or what's like semi-liquid food for their young ones.
Well, here you have it. Maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but we have a millipede on the move. Just going to be in pause cable puller for now. The millipede is moving away from us. It is what we call a detritivore, everybody. Ever heard of the word detritivore? Well, we know what a herbivore is. Feed on vegetation. Now, a detritivore feeds on detritus. Now, what is detritus? Detritus is decomposing organic material. So, a leaf on the ground, early stages, not detritus, but that leaf starts to turn into compost. And that's what they feed on. They feed on the composting organic material found in the landscape.
So here we have a big herd of buffalo. Probably these are the ones that the Black Rock Pride were looking for to get something from them, but I think they might have lost one member, because I saw some blood stain on a few lions there, and I saw also some lions that had big stomachs, so probably they lost a calf. There was a bit of blood in the subadults, but then they don't look like they fed well. So buffaloes are not far. Now we've got the two big males that moved in, so I'm sure maybe they might try to get one of them. So I've seen most of the time when the Black Rock Pride are hunting or going for buffalo, they depend mostly on the two big boys because of power, because buffaloes are known to fight back. Look at how alert they are. Look at how slowly they're walking, and you can tell that they're all maybe pursuing something, and which is water. They want to go for water because it's warming up. Some of the ponds around here have dried off. Look at these two big boys. Kiongozi was on the other side, and now here we have Manuele and Oloibor. So these two here have made a very good companionship, so that is very important for these two. Oh, sleepyhead there. So their companionship forms a good bond because they cover long distance patrolling their territory. I saw them this morning walking from kilometers and kilometers away. I tried to follow them. Oh, what are you looking? So they work together to patrol their territory. And the calves that we've been seeing around here have been fathered by these two. That is Manuele, hairy one, and the other one is Blondie. So the other one, we call him Oloibor.
Animal lover, very big jumbo from the Mara, from myself and the Mara, and you're saying you love this Masai giraffe. I would agree with you, and animal lover, I'm sure you know, in Kenya, we got 3 types of giraffes. We got what you're seeing now, and these are the Masai giraffes. You go further north of Kenya, an area called Laikipia, or north of the equator, you'll see another species that is called the lenticular giraffe. And if you go where I come from, animal lover, an area called the Rift Valley of Kenya, or the Great Lakes of the Rift Valley of Kenya, you'll see another type that's called the Nubian giraffe. And the Nubians, we used to call them the Rothschilds. Basically, it's same everything, breeding, feeding, behavior. only the patterns on the bodies that may be different. Many people will say giraffes amble as they walk. I would want to believe so. Moving two legs of one side more or less at the same time.
So here, as the rain starts building up in the Mara, we want to see the signs, beautiful signs of return of animals in the plains. So we start seeing the change of having zebras, topis, and sometimes even the resident wildebeest that come to take over these grassland plains. These are grassland specialists. So right now you can see the herd spreading out. You can see some movement over across on the other side, feeding calmly. And because this grass is very dry, so they are kind of dependent. You can see the topi is a very selective feeder, while the zebra is just slicing through the red oat grass. So they have very thick and solid teeth. They cut like scissors. You can see the topi walking around there. So meaning that it's picking a very good spot, while the zebras keep on going on and on and on and on. So zebras are bulk grazers, meaning they take in large quantities of grass rather than being selective like the topis there. So they chop down the coarse fibrous grass, and then that gives them the ability to make them the pioneers of this landscape. Here we have our sleeping lions, so I hope David you find some active lions. So these two lions around here, so one is just behind the croton bush. So these are the main males for the Blackrock Pride. This is Manuele and his brother Oloibor. So what's happening here, they're conserving energy. In the morning we saw them walk long distance. They covered a long distance. Probably that was a patrol or territorial patrol. They didn't roar that much, but I hope they were able to patrol within the Pride territory, making sure that no intruders, because we're close to the border. We're about 20 or 30 kilometers away from the Tanzania side. So sometimes we find youngsters, lions that have been ousted out from their own Pride areas, that come into other Pride areas to take over. So they have to be on a constant patrol, the two of them, making sure that no intruders, we don't have marauding lions or nomads that might come into here.
Wow, we do have some weavers making nests across the way here at Jacis Dam. Listen to them. That was a group of 3 females that just flew into that tree there. Here are all the males trying to get their attention there. Oh, what happened there? It all disappeared. Anyway, so basically what happens is when new nests are being built, they're often built in prime real estate areas on that specific tree. And obviously the males want to build that nest, build a new nest where that old nest is. So quite often they end up breaking up old nests and they fall into the water. Sometimes you have crocodiles waiting underneath there. And this is where this particular nest came from. It's floated all the way across, and it's run aground on the other side of Jacis Dam here. Now here, if I turn it, that is the entrance. So this would be turned upside down like that, with the entrance being, well, the entrance facing down. So this would be facing downwards, and you can see this is the side where the female will sit. She'll sit inside there. Usually there'll be a lot of soft material in there, ranging from fluff from animals, as well as feathers from other birds, as well as their own feathers.
Now here we have a raptor and a sipita. We have the duck chanting goshawk. So these accipiters are good hunters. They prey for snakes, they prey for lizards, they prey for grasshoppers, and right now he's on a sentinel position watching over. When the sun is about to set, there's activity around watering holes, and small rodents, even lizards, sometimes even the monitor lizard that come here will fall prey to this raptor. We have the eastern pale chanting goshawk, we have the dark chanting goshawk here, so they all play a very important role here. So you can see the slate gray on the chest, and also the red bill there and the red feet, long tail. So those are the distinctive marking, how we differentiate between a dark chanting goshawk and a pale chanting goshawk. So they're ambush predators, and right now he's tucked into the bushes for the prey not to see them. Sit still, scanning the ground. So even there, small birds can also fall victim. So he has to be very patient.
Two hooded vultures. And not sure what they're picking from here, because the carcass is about 150 meters away from here, and this is not where the crime scene was from yesterday morning, but possibly something could have picked, because if you see them, they're like cutting something, and maybe another vulture would have swept through low to the carcass, picked something that dropped it by mistake, because you can tell these two hooded vultures are basically feeding. Sandy Franklin, I would say the largest birds we got in the Mara are, of course, the ostriches. And I'm talking about the Masai ostriches. And I'm sure, you know, the Masai ostriches do not fly. But looking at birds that fly in the Mara, the largest one, I'm trying to think possibly the southern grand hornbills are huge birds. And apart from that, St. Franklin, we also got the curry bastards. Some of the concerns for lion cubs are mature egos, and mature egos have been known to hunt or predate on lion cubs. But now, these particular lion cubs don't think they are worried. I'm sure they can see the elephant, they cannot understand what type of an animal is, but being very close to the mother, they're feeling very safe. The big bull just came out of the water, and you can see the depth it had gone in, and Kaleo doesn't seem bothered. The cubs are like, it's playtime. Yes, the Ellie is a huge male, but who cares? A huge animal for them. People have always wondered, would Ellies, you know, stumble or just walk over the cubs? And that's a very big possibility, especially if they're very young and maybe not attended. Debbie, we have had many scenes with Imara, and Imara is saying, she's on camera today, this could be a lasting scene as she leaves us tomorrow. And I'm agreeing with her. So cool. Just to have that female there and the boy walking over the mother, who we have been suspecting with the mother, that possibly is the boy. And not once. Either he'll walk, if she's a he, on the mother, play on top of her body, and the other light one, the one moving to the front there, doesn't play as much. But this one, woohoo! That one definitely strengthened their bond as much as they're from the same litter. But you know, of all the cats, the most social ones are the lions. And it starts very early.
What a lovely sight of lions and elephants. Back here, our martial eagle juvenile is calling for mom. very, very vocal. And I can hear the hammerkop calling over in the distance. So even though we call this a juvenile, he's still super big. Just listen to that call. Being the Africa's largest eagle, or I like calling it the leopard of the sky, look at how big he is and still call a juvenile. But the only way we are able to distinguish between the mother and this juvenile is because they're very pale white, and you can see it's almost like a brownish head, very white spots. So the mothers have, or the adults have, a black patch on the neck and spots, black spots. That is easy way of identifying the juveniles to the adults. You can see how heavily built he is. Like the bright light shining on his coat. Beautiful feathers there. So this bird can weigh up to about 6 kilos, and the wingspan can be about, beautiful call. Wingspan can be about 2.5 meters. So in future, this one is gonna be a killer machine. I've seen Marshall Eagle take down Savocat. I've seen a Marshall Eagle take snakes.
Now, we were on this road this morning, and the day before we saw a black stork youngster walking along this road. And on our way back, we were looking for lion activity here on the old airstrip. And I saw an enormous track of a stork, and I thought, that can't be the black stork's tracks, surely. And now I see that I was obviously not thinking bigger. It's definitely the track of the saddle-billed stork. This marvelous fellow. Or is this the lady, actually? How can you tell, everybody, if it's a male or female? They look so very similar. Now, it's challenging when you can't get really up close and personal on the face, but the male has often got this little yellow wattle hanging down underneath the chin, and the female has got a yellow eye. So you can see that this individual's got a yellow eye and is lacking the little wattle, so it is a female. What is the purpose of the little wattle under the chin? I don't know. They're looking for frogs, insects, all sorts happening in the long grass, even nestlings. Never seen one with a snake, but I suppose you could have a stork killing a snake.
You can see how camouflaged they are here. I mean, if you're not really looking carefully, you'd never see this lady here. She almost blends into the surrounding environment here of the flood bed, floodplain. It's not really a plain, but it's like if the Mulwati was really, really full, where she's lying would be underwater. But it's not. It's not flowing. But oh, look at that little one. It's up. It's up now. Wanting to move a little stretch. That tail is so cute. Pam, they do look a little bit tired. Look at that big belly. Ew. Are you eating grass?
As you can see, nature never fails to produce something amazing. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.